Right, we'll have more on those stories coming up in the morning news at 11, plus a full wrap in 10's News at 5.
Nearly half the Australian population now has something called a social networking profile. For me, that's at the back of the room, leaning against the wall with a quiet beer in the hand. For millions, however, their profile requires them to spend days on end glued to computer screens, racking up friends they never meet and conversing with virtual strangers. How is that fun?
Well, since 2006, MySpace, Facebook and a handful of other online communities have embedded themselves in our lives, changing the way we communicate and socialise. Social networking strategist Laurel Papworth and 20-year-old MySpace enthusiast Kerry join us to talk about the phenomenon. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What is... See, you've got to treat me like an idiot here. What is a social networking site?
Okay, a social networking site is where people can come together, meet each other, share information, catch up, updates, and basically cut down on the amount of time they have to spend physically contacting each other.
Is it kind of like a modern-day chat room, only you're chatting only with people that you know generally? Is that a good way to explain it?
Not only with the people that you know. The word social is perhaps a little bit of a misnomer. It doesn't mean a party, it means society. So it's anybody within your group or your community. It could be the leaders, it can be personal friends, colleagues, people from work, your mum and dad, kids.
But, Kerry, now you have a site,
Yes.
Your own site. Just tell me, if I wanted to access your site, how would I do that?
Well, you'd go onto the website and you'd type in my domain.
So what website do I go onto?
You go onto myspace.com.
Yeah.
And then you can either search by email or you can actually search with my domain, which is miss_tees.
Miss Tees.
Yes.
Okay. And we have your homepage there.
And
webpage
apparently
there.
at last sort of count, you've got 102,381 friends.
Yes, that's correct.
What does that mean?
What?
Yeah. And how do you get them all?
How do you do that?
I'm very well known. I started off with, I joined the site to make some friends. A couple of my friends were talking about MySpace and I wanted to see what it was. And so I joined the site. And for the first few months, it was just sort of laid back. I didn't really talk to many people. And I've been a big-time wrestling fan all my life. So I started realising that wrestlers use MySpace, and then I started interacting with wrestlers and I'd get emails back from them. And eventually, a few years later, I've actually been able to be recognised by wrestlers when they come over here. And they also contact me now to actually get them booked over here and help them come to Australia, which is a big thrill for me. I've also got wrestlers over in the USA that are wanting to train me over there as well because I want to get into wrestling. And that's what MySpace is. You can use it for friends or you can use it to network yourself with people to help you go further with your career.
So hang on, but just back to this 102,381, how in the world do you get all of those, access to all of those people?
Because wrestlers actually know me, they have a top friends spot for where you can put your top friends, which are obviously your favourite friends. And I'm often in a lot of their friends, and then a lot of fans from wrestling see me and then they add me as well, and then other wrestlers that contact me as well, and they just sort of go through each other's network.
Right, so
it might be worthwhile thinking of Kerry as a talk show host, and she brings articles and interviews and information about the wrestling world to her audience or her viewers. In the MySpace,
on her site. Okay,
it's called Friends. Yes. And I'm sure that you consider your viewers friends as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, some of them.
And some get a bit persnippety with us, though.
And I'm sure that some are persnippety with Kerry as well, and they would write negative comments and things like that. But she's able to deal with that. And in the main, 99% of the information that comes through to her is positive. So she acts more as a networker. That's why they're called social networking.
There is always the question of how secure these things are. We've dealt with the topic many times on this program, securing websites and making sure that you remain safe, that you don't reveal certain details. How do you do that? I mean,
I think everybody's pretty aware of the issues these days. If you're concerned, you keep your profile quiet, private. But
how do you do that if you've got 102,000 friends?
You just don't reveal certain details, your last name, your home address, the schools you go to. You keep information private. I mean, it's common internet sense. You wouldn't release that on any other site like Yahoo. And
You're still open to I guess you're open to cyber stalkers in that sense because, I mean, and not to make too fine a point of it, but your website name, Miss T's, may well be misinterpreted by someone.
True, I guess that's right, but I've never had any problems. And I've been on there for over 2 years now.
And you've become a celebrity in your own
I get
right.
recognised at wrestling shows as well. I get recognised by the wrestlers and by fans, and I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, oh, I was a bit too scared to come up to you because I didn't think how you'd react to having an internet person come up to you and say, I know you from MySpace, but I'm quite okay with it.
It's become quite a phenomenon, hasn't it? What do we know about the typical people that use this service?
There's as many different ways of using social networks as there are people. So there are some people who keep their profiles very quiet, very private, just for family and friends. There are other people, for instance, who become the leaders in very niche areas that they're passionate about, whether it's rollerblading or wrestling or doily making. It doesn't matter, as long as you are creative and looking all the time for videos and pictures and content. Don't forget, these leaders of MySpace communities are now, I guess, media in their own right. They have the sort of audiences that are passionate in those areas as well. And I know it's very focused and very niche. Not every woman is going to be interested in wrestling. But
clearly a lot are.
Clearly a lot are, yes.
I'd like to talk to you about the personalities. You touched on a few of them then. I was really interested to know that there are quite distinct personalities of people who are into these social networking sites.
Not only distinct personalities, for instance, the netrepreneur, I think, is one term that's used. And that's netrepreneur. That's an entrepreneur that wants to use the internet to make money.